There's one story I want to share with you guys. And I know what you guys saw. New Mexico experimented with a basic income program that gave $500 a month to immigrant families. They used the money to pay rent and secure jobs. That's what they use the money for, family. They use the money to pay rent and secure jobs. What United States of America would not love an additional $500 a month to pay bills and secure jobs? Because still to this day, there's a high rate of Americans who are unemployed and underemployed and who are qualified. But I wonder where those jobs are going. And again, some people may get into the whole, oh, don't blame the immigrants for taking jobs. No, again, we understand that this is a ploy by the Democratic Party to use illegal immigration as a buffer class for their voting bloc in order not to depend on Black Americans anymore. So they're being incentivized and benefited. Now, family, let's just be brutally honest here. Let's just be brutally honest here. If you was in another country that was bordering the most powerful country in the world, and let's say you didn't have a lineage class like Foundation Black Americans who had a history of standing up and fight. You didn't have that history. So you may not have that dog in you, may not have that fight in you. And you heard there's a country that's giving out benefits. And they're allowing you to get work permits, and you can hold particular jobs where in other countries you will have to be a citizen to do. You can even carry a firearm as an illegal immigrant. Did you guys know that it's legal? A federal court judge stated that it was legal for illegal immigrants to bear arms in the United States of America. But you're already in the country illegally, but under the veil, the guise, the disguise of an asylum seeker or a refugee. That's what we get. It states that New Mexico's basic income pilot provides $500 monthly to 330 immigrant households. And some may argue, oh, that's just a small, insignificant number. Were you a part of that insignificant number that received those benefits? Absolutely not. It goes on to state that pandemic relief excluded many immigrants, leading to economic hardship for undocumented families. Undocumented simply means they are illegally in the country. The pilot showed improved employment and education outcomes for participants. But I think the moral of the story here, family, is that they have, again, the funding, millions of dollars. And this is out of New Mexico. We've seen a lot of the other stories that came out, of course, from states like New York, as well as Illinois, by the way of Chicago, about the billions of dollars that the city of Chicago is signing by the way of Mayor Brandon, Mayor Johnson, whatever his name is, and then by the way of Mayor Adams in New York City. And again, they're being highlighted, family. There's other city mayors and governors that are writing the check for illegal immigration. But one, these are two prominent cities. They're, I believe they're in the top 4 largest cities in America. And then, of course, they're Black. You know they're going to be all over TV when it comes to this. But again, they should know what it's doing to those communities, those Black communities within their cities. But we understand that a lot of Black folk who lean to the Democratic Party, the ones that are still left, they're part of the SHIELD family, the Democratic SHIELD family, where they protect all decisions made by the Democrats to fatten their pockets. They're bought and paid for. That's the point I'm getting at. So this is how illegal immigrants can continually receive benefits, monies, apartments, condos, work permits, driver's license, everything that you will hope out for. You will hope that EBT or some other social program in America would do that for you. See, here's the thing. They fool you and they state that America is a capitalist country. And I tell someone, prove that America is a capitalist country. Prove to me that America is a capitalist country. Someone will go on a rant about building their own business and how in a couple years or so, it can be worth 5 million, $5 billion. America is the birthplace of free enterprise, barter and trade, yada, yada, yada. I got it. I got it. One of the most powerful, influential capitalist societies in the world. But it's based on socialism. Why is it based on socialism, Blacklogic? Well, it's based on socialism because I can come to this country as an illegal immigrant. Or before illegal immigration was a large problem, there's many social programs. Hey, I'm a product of welfare. My mother was on welfare. The only job she could get with an 8th grade education was working at McDonald's. And there were social programs that the white supremacists provided for us to get stuck on it so we won't do for self, even with our conservative mindsets, not Republican, conservative mindset of doing for self and building for self. But I was an advocate of that. I was a beneficiary of the welfare system. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to lie to you. But that's socialism, family, where the government takes care of its citizens, and the citizens, for the most part, don't have to do much of anything to receive that money. Now, of course, there's some medical complications in there with, Social Security or elders. There's other social programs that I'm not really going to talk about because that could be a touchy issue, right? Because I believe Social Security is important due to inflation, rise of cost of housing, etc. So when you get into your elderly years and you didn't put away enough in your 401k, you may have to link to Social Security, which is another social society program. So EBT, welfare, whatever you want to call it, DACA, okay, CHIP, all SNAP, you got CHIP, these abbreviations for these social programs. Am I stating that they should eradicate social programs? No, family, I'm not stating that. I would be a hypocrite, a thing that benefited me when my mom and I didn't have anything. Okay, when my mom and I didn't have anything, that fed me. Everybody remember the Goodman cheese, that big block of cheese, had some of the most delicious cheese. Whoever thought that government cheese would be delicious? But it was. I remember Farina, powdered milk, powdered eggs, all of those things. But don't tell me that this is a capitalist society where one of our building blocks is socialism. And in that socialism, crowbar itself of immigrants coming to the country, receiving benefits and stipends of cash. Remember, in New York, they were giving out $2,000. Now in New Mexico, cost of living is a lot less. They're giving out $500. And then some of you, and don't forget New York, they gave them debit cards with a monthly allowance. I forgot some weird amount, like 13 cents a day. Who can buy groceries with 13 cents a day? So I think the city of New York was lying there. It just doesn't make any financial sense. But family, they are receiving all sorts of benefits. But you know what? And I know a lot of you guys worked with, and I'm not, at this point, I'm not talking about illegal, with immigrants in general. With immigrants in general, a lot of us work with them. A lot of them have worked with them. And if you ever, got personal with them about their story, is it me or a lot of those stories sound the same? Oh, my family and I, we came over here, or my mother or father came over here before I, and we came over here with 5 cents in our pocket. We only have like $5. And here we are 3 years later with 5 restaurants. Anybody heard that story or something similar? That, we only came over here with 10 cents. Then after 3 years, we now have 4 malls in America and they're multimillionaires. And then when you do the research of how that occurred, you see that when people come over here as legal immigrants, they get support and monies and benefits and health care and dental care freely from the American government. That's socialism, family. Let you go to one of these other countries and try to start off from zero. start off from scratch. That's not how it goes, family. That's not how it goes. Yeah, we're going to dive into some of these hot, very controversial issues that's facing America today, because illegal immigration and the criminal past of these individuals are bringing with them into our countries. Now, I'm not going to go ham on illegal immigration as a whole, because I get it, family. They all are here illegally, but some of them are not criminals. Maybe majority of them are not criminals. I'm not stating that, but I'm saying they have a big enough population of those with criminal past that the American government is not screening by the way of Joe Biden. Now, family, if you're new to the channel, please subscribe, hit the like button. And I'm not a Republican nor Democrat. I'm not pro-Biden or pro-Trump. I'm pro-Black empowerment. We're talking about the betterment of our people and understanding the construct in which we live, family. That is what we're talking about. And I know sometimes when you talk about the innocent people that came over here from different countries, they're just trying to make a new way of life with different opportunities and more opportunities. And I know that this topic can get heated, but stick with me, because it's time to face some hard truths. It's time to face some hard truths, family. Let me see where. Now, of course, LA stated that suburban China grows with new waves of immigrants. And I told you, I think it was like the last 3 months last year where there was over 24,000 Chinese illegal migrants or immigrants that was coming across the border. I think I did a video on that. I think you guys should check that out. It's probably about a month or two ago that I had that video released. But I want you guys to watch this very quickly. Very quickly. Give me 1 second.
Although many Chinese Americans still celebrate major festivals, live and work in historic Chinatown in downtown Los Angeles, the most heavily populated Chinese areas of Los Angeles are the eastern suburbs, the San Gabriel Valley. 13-year-old Jenny Ha plays with her younger brother here, a place that has attracted many migrants from mainland China. Jenny, her brother, and father made their way through Central America, and VOA met them at a migrant center in Panama in February. Their father, Ha, asks that he not be fully identified for fear that Chinese authorities will harass his family in China.
Our boat overturned, so we couldn't go by boat. So instead of a 2.5-day walk, we had to walk for 4.5 days in the rainforest.
He would later lose sight of the migrant caravan in the depths of the rainforest.
I couldn't see anyone in front of us or behind us. At that point, it was a test of my own state of mind.
They persevered. When the family reached the United States, they asked for political asylum, and their case is pending. Jenny misses her dog back in China and her mom, who...
Yep. They're coming over here, family, by hook or by crook. That's the truth of the matter. They're coming over here by hook or by crook. And I'm not trying to sell you guys any sort of whiff tickets. I'm not. Because according to the Department of Homeland Security, they're currently monitoring around or over 600,000 illegal immigrants with criminal histories who have entered the U.S., mind you. So we're talking about over 600,000 individuals with criminal histories here in the U.S. illegally inside of the country. These aren't just people looking for a better life. These are the individuals with criminal convictions or pending charges. And I believe there was a Republican, I forgot the guy's name, Glenn Grothman, I believe. He stated that, laying it out plainly, so to speak, the fact is that illegal immigrants should not be in the country in the first place, even to commit these crimes. And basically, as he was stating, Some of the same things you heard before. It's a simple solution. Secure the border, stop releasing illegal immigrants into the country, into communities. And when they commit crimes, turn them over to ICE and enforce the law. It's not rocket science. But you know the thing that I struggle with, family? That every time an illegal immigrant get done doing something illegal, even if they have a history, we keep using the same tactics, and that's not deterring them from trying to re-enter the country. Right? A lot of these people have multitude of different attempts and succeeding, some of them, to be, that crosses the border illegally. That crosses the border illegally. So when we look at this, family, we just going to give them over to ICE, and then ICE is going to deport them. ICE is going to deport them. Is that what ICE is going to do? And a lot of these, they have ongoing criminal histories back from their home country and starting ones in America. But why we keep giving them to ICE so ICE can deport them, and then they come back over into the border? How about we lock them up? Because if an American citizen commits a crime, we're going to prison. We're going to prison. And this is right from the U.S. This is right from the U.S. Customs and Border Protection website. And this is criminal non-citizen statistics. And the reason why this is important is because people would tell you that crime in America has not increased since the influx of tens of millions of illegal immigrants that are majority from Central America, partially from South America, the Caribbean, Africa, Asia by the way of India and China. So, and of course we have many Afghans and other groups, but those are the major groups that are coming over illegally, family. When we speak about Asia, we're talking about Chinese and mostly Indian. When it comes to Africa, I mean, I know there's a multitude of like over 50 countries in Africa, but they come from all over. And then you have the Caribbean as well. You have Haiti, Northern South America, Central America, and then south of the U.S. But they would tell you the influx of immigrants does not increase violence in America. I call out lies because right here on the Department of Homeland Security website, okay, this table organizes nationwide convictions of criminal non-citizens by the type of criminal conduct, because some criminal non-citizens may be convicted of multiple criminal offenses. Total convictions listed below exceed the total arrests. So when we look at this, let me scoot this over, family, so we can get the most recent years. And let me back that up one for you. Here we go. So if we look at the fiscal years, right, we're looking at the convictions by the type, by the criminal offense. Now we see, let's go 22, 23, and 24 year to date, fiscal year. Look how the numbers increased significantly when Joe Biden got into office. Holy shit. Excuse my English. Excuse my English, family, but wow. When Joe Biden got into office in 2020, and I know a lot of people would say, oh, that was the run over effect when Donald Trump was in office. Joe Biden didn't do it. But then we read all of these White House governmental papers of how basically Joe Biden and Kamala Harris got together. Jim Crow Joe got together with Kamala Harris and their cronies. And they wrote all this legislation dealing with illegal immigration to create larger footholds. We went over that right on here on Blacklogic. But as we see the influx, family, I mean, we're talking about 208 assaults and battered domestic violence. And now we're up here at over 1,200. Okay. And they, of course, they don't have the full year yet, but we're not even in June. We're close to June. We're at the end of May here, but we're already up 662 assaults and batteries. So we're going to blow this number out the water. Okay. And again, you keep looking at these numbers. Majority of the increases is since Joe Biden has come into office because of the major influx. And someone stating that, oh, illegal immigrants don't increase violence in America. Yes, they do. And where they're being dropped off at? In the Black community. So stop telling us lies. And that's why the influx of increase in violence in Chicago and Baltimore and New York and Atlanta and all these other places, because of the influx of illegal immigration. Look at this year right here, family. This is driving under the influence. So this is driving drunk. Almost 2,500 increase of individuals. Okay. It looked like for the 23-year homicide and manslaughter went down, but the first 2 years, 1662, that it increased. Look, illegal re-entry, 8,700. And family, this is just what they can record. That's what they can just record. And there's probably thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of statistics that's not even annotated inside of the chart here. It's not even input inside of the chart here. Okay. That's the crazy part. Over 600,000 illegal immigrants with criminal records currently in the United States of America, according to DHS. Not me. It states, according to the Post-Millennial, the information was obtained by the House National Security, Border and Foreign Affairs Subcommittee Chairman for Wisconsin, Rep. Groffman, during a hearing on Tuesday, which shows 617,000 migrants in the country illegally have a criminal conviction or pending criminal charges. The fact is that illegal aliens should not be in the country in the first place and able to commit these crimes. Secure the border, stop releasing illegal aliens into the country in droves, and turn them over to ICE, basically. It goes on to state that crimes have been committed by migrants in the U.S. who are here illegally, including the murder of Georgia college student Laken Riley, which made international headlines and prompted her family to be invited to spend time with former President Donald Trump, and even have a bill known as the Laley Riley Act passed the U.S. House of Representatives. Similar crimes have also been recorded in states like Michigan, in which an illegal migrant named Brandon Ortiz Veit killed 25-year-old Ruby Garcia when he attempted to carjack her vehicle and she was uncooperative. Butler County, Ohio, when 48-year-old illegal migrant Furman Garcia Gutierrez, who have been deported on he's been deported on 7 separate occasions, was arrested and charged with the murder of an unidentified individual. It states that Butler County Sheriff Richard Jones blasted the federal response to the crisis at the southern border, stating that the total of roughly 1,000 illegal immigrants have been housed in the county jail in recent years at a cost of $1.8 million to local taxpayers. Okay, family, but this is what we're referring to when we talk about illegal immigration. And I know there are some people who may be part of the Democratic Party or who vote Democrat, I don't know, and they're still trying to give just cause for voting for Joe Biden. That hasn't benefited Black people. It hasn't benefited foundational Black Americans. So why would we continue to do something that doesn't benefit us? As we see other groups receive support, we see other groups receive and get legislation passed on their behalf in their benefit, then why would we do that? That's asinine. That's absolutely crazy. That is absolutely ridiculous. It's right in our face. Everybody knew about the college young lady who was murdered. And she was brutally murdered by an illegal immigrant. And family, I am not stating that all illegal immigrants in the country are murderers or robbers are bad, okay? But I will say this, all illegal immigrants in America are illegal. So they did break the law, and we've all broke the law, right? We've sped, we cruised past a stop sign. We've broken the law, so take it with a grain of salt. Take it with a grain of salt. But when we talk about Laken Riley, her tragic death made international headlines. It made international headlines. And remember, I forgot who, I believe it was the DHS secretary. What's his name? Alexandro Mayorkas. Remember that guy? Y'all heard that name Mayorkas a lot? Because they tried to impeach him. The Republicans tried to impeach DHS Secretary Mayorkas because they stated that he was willful and systematic refusal to comply with the law and that he breached public trust. They went after that guy. They went after that guy, family. They tried to impeach him. They tried to impeach him. And they're still trying to bring him up on charges. They're even trying to trump up charges on Chuck Schumer, who's the Senate Majority Leader. He tried to, listen, they're trying to bring them up on charges because we have stories like over 600,000 illegal immigrants with criminal histories in America. I hate to say this, family. Is this the second chance country? Or should you get a second chance in your own country? I'm just asking a question. We need to secure the border. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you why this is important for Black Americans. Because we continue to be undermined at every turn. It's not an issue when they're not in your community. It's not an issue when they're not in your region. It's not an issue when they're not in your city. But soon as there's spillage, meaning because this one city is overloaded with illegal immigration and it spills over into your city and then into your neighborhood and then in your community. 600,000 criminals, family? Is that a large number? Is that a large number? Is 600,000 illegal immigrants in the country? Is that a large number? Which brings me to illegal immigrant wanted for murder has extensive criminal past. And granted, some people are like, oh, these are ones and twosies. But again, family, I gave you the statistics so you see that it's not ones and twosies. We're talking about hundreds of thousands. That is what we're referring to. We're talking about hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants in the country who have committed murder, who have committed grand larceny, who have committed armed robbery, etc.
Down the border, once there are 4,000 crossings a day, some of these other data speed up asylum adjudication and try to get it done within 180 days rather than waiting for years. Stuff that President Biden could have done all along but didn't. Doesn't that strike you as odd?
Neil, we took action a long time ago, and migration is a very dynamic.
Well, this was just
phenomenon,
announced in the last week,
and we are seeing the results that take time to take hold. We continue to take actions within the confines of our authorities. We need Congress to act.
Homeland Security Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas defending President Biden's actions on the border to Neil earlier this week. As that border bill the administration has been pushing failed another test vote in the United States Senate. And it comes as new video shows migrants throwing rocks and bottles at border agents in New Mexico. National Border Patrol Council Vice President Art Del Cueto on what he makes of all this. Art, great to see you.
I don't think we need to break down. We pretty much knows what's going on here, family. Let's just go through this. Let's go through this very quickly. Give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second. Because here it states that an illegal immigrant wanted for murder of a woman in West Virginia has an extensive criminal history in his home country of El Salvador. And I'm not pointing out any particular Latin country, family. Whatever country that pops up, that's what we're going to go with, right? But I already named the regions and continents and countries that the illegal immigrants are coming from, okay? It goes on to state that we really need to change our immigration system in this country. This is unacceptable. David Antonio Calderon, an illegal immigrant from El Salvador, is now charged with murder after authorities responded to a fire in the field on May 6 in Martinsburg, where a burnt body was located. Calderon is currently in custody in Virginia and awaited extradition to West Virginia. Here's this young man right there. It states that the Berkeley County Sheriff Department said that Calderon is believed to have illegally entered the U.S. after his release from El Salvador prison in 2021, where he had been jailed since 1999. And after entering the U.S., he is believed to have been stopped at the U.S.-Canada border in March of 23, where he was denied asylum and turned back to the U.S. authorities. It goes on to state that he has an extensive criminal history in El Salvador. And some of those arrests and convictions include DUI, sexual assault, murder, aggravated robbery, narcotics-related crimes. So he's done everything out the book. Rob, steal, and kill, and rape. Rob, steal, kill, and rape. And he's trafficking drugs. So he's done everything, right? The sheriff's office says, however, that after being stopped at the U.S.-Canada border, he was released back into the U.S. and given a notice to appear, allegedly due to no beds being available. So they try to extradite him, I guess, get him through Canada and give him back to Mexico. I don't know what's going on there, maybe because where he was in West Virginia. But they released him back to the U.S. authorities, and they said, here's a ticket. You have to show up here at this date and time and let him go on his way. Family, and they let him go on his way, already knowing his criminal history. What if that was you? What if that was me? You already know. You already know. He was initially arrested in Fredericks County, Virginia this month on separate warrants out for his arrest on charges of malicious assault. Those charges involve 3 victims. 2 include the use of a baseball bat and the other a stabbing. Man, he's doing everything. He's doing whatever he wants in the country. He's doing whatever he wants to do in this country. That's what he's doing. Whatever he wants. That's crazy.
Joining us now for more on this, former acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf. Chad, great to have you here. You know, this struck me in the White House press briefing room this week. This was an exchange with our own Jackie Heinrich and President Biden's press secretary, KJP. This was an exchange Wednesday about why isn't Biden taking unilateral action at the border? Listen.
The president has the authority to do something about this unilaterally. Congress is in a divided government right now. Why isn't he doing anything?
Why should he have to do it unilaterally? Why should we do it in a legislative way? You're right. He took many executive actions before. But in order to deal with what's happening at the border, in order to deal with a broken immigration system, you need law.
Well, Chad, I see you shaking your head as you listen to that. What were you thinking?
Yeah, I mean, you know, the press secretary is just out to lunch. She has absolutely no idea what she's talking about. It's clear that the Biden administration took executive actions early on in the administration. They have the ability to take more executive actions to reverse that and to address the
family. The reason why this is so funny to me is because I know you guys recall a couple of videos where I stated over and over and over and over again, the only thing that Joe Biden needs to do is sign an executive order and secure the border. That's how easy it is. That's how easy it is. And I've said this, I think, almost last year. And then, of course, the Republicans started to apply pressure. The American citizens started to apply pressure. And Joe Biden was like, oh, he was hinting and thinking around signing some executive order, which he has yet to do. And they're talking about unilaterally. And she's making this large excuse why the president hasn't signed an executive order to secure the border. Why can't we pass legislation? That's called time wasting. Because here's the thing. It's almost like this. And I know I never make really good examples. We have a house to build because there's a storm coming. We have the tools right here to build a house very quickly until other materials come to make it more solid, but we need shelter. The storm is coming. So instead of using the tools we already have, let's just see if we can weather the storm outside in the elements and not build anything at all, right? Because we're talking about emergency actions. Our borders are unsecure. We're talking about emergency action. Black communities are under siege by the way of the Democratic Party by allowing such hypocrisy to come inside a neighborhood and be dropped off like they did back in the 70s and 80s with Asian Americans who are Asian Americans today. Nothing against Asian Americans, but they were a tool of white supremacy to undermine. And so black people couldn't own anything in their own communities. And some of them will even tell you that. They know the history, family. They said the crime is the latest such incident committed allegedly by an illegal immigrant and come as the ongoing migrant crisis at the southern border is providing by a major political issue at the state and national level. Last week, a Salvadorian man was arrested by Immigration and Customs Enforcement in Virginia with prior conviction for sexual battery against a woman in the state. He had been arrested in 2020 for felony forcible sodomy by force, threat, etc. on a victim aged 13. He was released the same year. This is the guy they're talking about, family. This guy. But again, he's just an example of possible 600,000 illegal immigrants that have done similar crimes. Because don't forget, when Calderon, that's the guy's name, when he was stopped at the U.S.-Canada border in March of 23, he was denied asylum, handed over to the U.S. authorities. But because there were no bails, they released him back into the U.S. with a notice to appear, like a ticket. Hey, man, you got to appear on this date at this time. This is a dangerous oversight that puts American lives at risk. We really need to change our immigration system, family. We cannot allow our country to become a sanctuary city, a sanctuary state, a sanctuary region for criminals who bring violence and chaos from their home countries into our neighborhoods. We can't have it. We can't have that. Because if we really talk about the implications of Calderon, he didn't just slip through the cracks. He opened up the floodgates. And it's been pretty much open since Joe Biden has taken office. And even in Frederick County, Virginia, he was arrested on separate warrants for malicious assault involving 3 victims. And we went over that earlier. Remember the one with the baseball bat and the other one that was stabbed? And these are not isolated incidents. I mean, it's a very glaring example of a larger systematic issue. And if a lot of you don't believe they're using illegal immigration to create a buffer block to box out Black Americans' vote where they wouldn't need us, then think again, why are they trying to have a speedy path to citizenship? Why? Why they need to be citizens so fast? They have all of the benefits and rights as an American citizen, as an illegal immigrant. Why is it such a rush? Why is it such a rush to make them citizens? Why are they having unobscured or unburied a gold sign to be citizens? Think about that fact, family. Why is that so important? You get the same benefits, if not more, as an illegal immigrant inside the country. That's all I'm asking. Because when we went back to that chart, about 64% or so of federal crimes, federal arrests, makes up a large portion within a smaller portion of illegal immigration. And supposedly we have so-called laws to protect us. They need to be enforced, but they're not. The Immigration and Nationality Act, I don't know if you guys read it, but it really provides a framework for removing individuals who pose a threat to public safety, who pose a threat to American citizens. But yet, due to the lack of resources, how we have lack of resources and we're giving away billions of dollars to fund illegal immigration and to house illegal immigration and to put illegal immigrants back to work. How? Political wills and political failure. That's how we got here. And dangerous individuals, as an example, As an example, Calderon slipped through the cracks. The secure communities, oh, please. Please. And I know some people gonna say Trump 24, Trump this, Trump that. The Trump administration made efforts to address these issues with Executive Order 13768, enhancing public safety and interior of the United States. And that's why a lot of people are gonna vote for Trump. And family, I told you, neither president or neither hopeful, neither candidate does not have an executable plan for foundational Black Americans, descendants of slaves. So neither one has my vote. I will not compromise my vote. But some people are going to vote on enhancing public safety, and they're going to vote on that executive order, and it really focuses on deporting illegal immigrants who have committed crimes. But of course, he was saying that he's going to deport every illegal immigrant on day one. So there's a lot to be said there. That's a lot of robust enforcement. You're going to need adequate resources to reinforce and continue to build the wall. And a bigger problem with stories like this, family, we have to go and research these things because the mainstream media often downplays the crimes committed by illegal immigrants. They downplay them. They don't give actual accounts and numbers. And we can't afford to ignore this. Black Americans who have historically been marginalized and underserved, us family, no. We are often the ones who suffer from a lot of these failures. Because a lot of our communities are already suffering and struggling with systematic issues that was already created by the system of white supremacy, which is this U.S. government. And I'm not stating that everybody in the U.S. government is a white supremacist, blah, blah, blah. You got it. But now we're adding violent criminals to the mix. And we already know that this is definitely a recipe for disaster. We already know. It makes me think because there's another story. I think there's another story I found. And if I can recall correctly, back in 2015, an illegal immigrant from Mexico had been deported 5 times. He was deported 5 times, and he shot and killed Kate Sinnel in San Fran. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that story. Probably not, because a lot of these stories has not come out by mass media. And the city's sanctuary policies prevented local law enforcement from cooperating with federal immigration authorities. So now, because of these immigration policies, whether they be by the state or city, who's a sanctuary state or city, and by federal law enforcement, they couldn't even talk to each other. They couldn't cooperate with each other because of these laws and legislations. So guess what? They allow the man to remain in the U.S. despite his criminal record. That's the story for today, family. Because again, even though we have a bigger play at hand, we have a bigger code at hand. When we're speaking about the reparations package, I'll leave it there. But there's other issues too that are very important to Black Americans, because we're on the front lines of a lot of this violence. We're on the front lines of illegal immigrants being dumped and being used to utilize our resources in our communities. That's what's going on. Christina stated, well, thank you. I wanted to know why these people were dropped off in Black communities. It pissed me off, and they're taking over, and I feel like there's going to be a war in America against Blacks. There's always been a war in America against Blacks. Some of them are overt and some of them are covert. And they come in little disputes. They come in little spats. They come in little battles. And they never, ever want us to fight back. In order for you to weaken a warrior class of people, of people who've been oppressed and suppressed but continue to achieve, a group of people who have not lost their motivation and inspiration and to live and thrive in the country that their ancestors have built, and they know their history. We the white supremacists come on here and say, get off your ass, you lazy nigger. You just want something free. They don't understand a debt to be owed. Or rather, they play dumb. They play dumb and they tell jokes. Because when there's a debt to be owed by the father, the son will receive the benefits. The daughter will receive the benefits. So know how matter long this goes. There's a debt, not a handout, not a welfare, okay, not a social program for black folk. No. There was work rendered and there was land stolen. And we haven't even gotten to the atrocity of things. So we can essentially understand that part. Okay? Because reparations is not cash payments, family. It's wiping away qualified immunity. Some people are throwing up a no tax status for foundational Black Americans. Is land being granted and land being given back to the original buyers and recipients of that land? And a lot of these fraud cases about, the reason why the government took this black person land, these 300 acres, is because they couldn't pay their taxes. Even though that black person was a farmer or someone who deal in agriculture and they paid their taxes, you know, all the magic and trickery they do with the paperwork. Then all of a sudden, poof, 300 land of prime real estate gets secured and obtained by the city or state or federal government and then redispersed for $1 per acre or even free through social programs that they gave to European immigrants that came over here by the way of homestead. So there's a lot of things that's been against us for a very long time. Can you guys hear me? Okay, maybe those some old sounds. Okay. Let's see, we got Tina Marie, Focus Williams, Jermaine Anderson, thank you. DSP, my warrior brother. Jermaine Anderson, thank you for moderating, sir. MD Williams and Christina Robbins, thank you all who those were verbal. Please subscribe to the channel. We're on our way to 25,000 family. I know that I've been posting on Fridays. I'm working on a project. On Fridays. So probably after this week, I'll resume my broadcast on Friday. But click that notification bell, give this video a thumbs up, and share this on your social media as well. Please support the channel. We're trying to reach 25,000, okay? You guys have a great and wonderful evening. Be one to you all.